Hey everybody, in today's video I'm going to be talking about how to start your own monster fish tank. Now, this is going to be broken up into two parts. I'm just going to first talk about just basically where you can have technically a community monster tank where the fish won't kill each other, or you can have big fish with other big fish. And then in the second part, I'm going to be talking about a lone fish, which is where it's just that fish. They can't even go with their own species, and I'm going to do single species tanks. Now, let's get started. Now I'm going to start off with fish that would be good for a beginner. Now, I'm going to reference some of my fish in here, but there are so many more out there. There are, and I really think you should look into it if you're going to do that. And before I say anything else, for a monster fish tank, if you're going to start out with one, I would definitely suggest anywhere from starting at a 125 to 300 gallon tank. I'm saying that because these fish do get, because I'm saying if you're going to start out, they're probably going to end up starting out with either anywhere from they get a foot to 2 feet long. So that's why I'm suggesting such a big tank, because a 55 gallon won't hold a happy 1 foot long fish, especially if there's, say, 5 of them. It ain't going to be a pretty sight, because something's going to want to kill something else to get more room in the tank or to establish dominance. It's just the way it'll go. But let me show you some of the examples now. Now this is a sun shark, or a golden shark actually. It's a golden shark. And these guys get about a foot long, and they are really cool to see. They're really cool. What else? Yeah, basically that's it about them. They're just good for a nice beginner. And I would also suggest these guys. These are tinfoil barbs. They get really cool. They get a foot long as well. So they are both very good choices to start off with. And they grow, I would say, decently fast, but not as in by a half year they're going to be full grown. They don't grow like that. Alright, so the next one is the panda parrot, or parrotfish, are also a very good choice for beginners. They can definitely hold their own against any other fish, and they come in a very nice variety of colors and just different assortments. As you can probably tell, or at least what I just said, mine is a panda parrot, and that's just when it has those little black spots. Now generally when they get older, they start to lose them, like you can kind of see on the top of his head. He lost, like it's kind of shaded a little, but mine's actually kept up a very nice coloration of black on his face, which I really like. And a Jack Dempsey. Jack Dempsey's, if you want to put one of those in your tank, they are also a very nice fish. They have many different colors of them. You get electric blues, albinos, all that kind of stuff. However, though, Jack Dempsey's don't get exactly a foot long, but they are also very mean cichlid. Like, the only reason this guy, my Oscar, and the panda, they're both cichlids. I believe the Oscar could definitely take them on, but the panda, possibly not. The Jack Dempsey would want to kill them because he would feel like they're invading his territory. But they were here almost the exact same time he was, so he didn't mind them, and that's why he can live with him. I tried to put a firemouth in there once. He killed it in less than a day, and it was the same size as him. So they are very, very territorial, and I would definitely suggest if you get a Jack Dempsey, that would be the last cichlid you would be putting in there, or at least you would try to find another cichlid that's much bigger than him and can actually stand up to him, because he will kill nearly any other cichlid you put in there. Now those are some really good beginner fish. I would definitely suggest you start out with. Sorry. But the number one fish I think you should always start out with if you're starting a monster tank is an Oscar. Now, the reason I say that is because they get about a foot long. There are so many different kinds you can get. You can get the normal one. You can get a normal one where it's like black and it has like just like not rather than all that orange, it just has like blotches of it. Or you can get albino with that, or you can get a lemon. There's just so many different kinds. And in the future, I'll be making a video of a very special kind of Oscar I want to get. I've been looking for a year now. Can't find them. It's I say the hardest kind of Oscar to find. But the reason I'm suggesting them be your first fish is because they get a great personality. They end up knowing who you are from feeding and just being around them so much. And you can even train them to do tricks and all that kind of stuff. It's really cool. And I'm just going to tell you now because sometimes you might want to get two of them just because they're really that cool. You can't put a female and a female or a male and a male in a tank because females will kill the other females and males will kill the other females. It's always like that. It doesn't matter if it is females or not, because some fish can do that. Some fish, like betas or betas, however you want to pronounce them, they can put two fancy females together. Nope, not with Oscars. What you have to do is either buy them when they're a pair, when they already paired up, or hope you get lucky and you get a male and female right off the bat. Because if you don't, and you try and put another Oscar in there, and it might just kill it because it's the opposite. It's the same sex. Now, same situation can kind of apply. Like if I were to put a pair in here, eventually when they get big enough, they would team up on this single one because it's just for some reason they would want to kill a single Oscar because it could possibly damage the eggs or something like that. I don't know why. They just want to do that. So you just got to watch out with them. They can be very aggressive to their own kind and stuff. But now let me talk about some fish that you should probably avoid unless you're willing to go the heights with it, such as the Pacu. Pacu are tank breakers. They will literally break your tank. I've covered it in other videos. If you want to go check out why they're tank breakers, go look at the Pacu care guide I made. I talk about them and stuff. I only had him for maybe 3 to 2 months. He's already bigger than that one, which I've had for like 4 to 5. And I'm pretty sure this one's a female and that one's a male, or maybe it could be reversed, I don't know. But the reason I say that is because this one's just so much bigger than that one, and I've had that one longer. But yeah, Pacu get like 3.5 feet long, and they will outgrow a 600-gallon tank. You need at least 1,000-gallon tank to keep them happy. And there's a lot of other fish that go in that category. Just do your research when you're going to start a monster tank and you want some monster fish, because a lot of times that's a situation. You buy a fish, you don't realize how big it gets, it outgrows the tank, and it's bad because you couldn't keep a 3.5 foot fish in this tank. It's 5 feet long, it's 125 gallons. No, they would destroy it. So just do your research and watch out what fish you buy, because you can end up with a situation like the Pacu. And I know how big they get, and that is why I am planning on buying a bigger tank in the future. Maybe either a 300 or 600 gallon, but that still probably won't be till next year. Now, another one is plecos. This is a common pleco. You find them everywhere. They're the most, and it's literally in their name, they are the most common found pleco. They are very cheap. However, though, they get 3 feet long, so I would not recommend them if you're starting a monster tank, just because, like I said, you probably only want to start out with anything from a 125 to 300 gallon. Now, I guess a 300 gallon can hold it, but just saying, there are many, many more plecos that only get a foot long, and they're much, much cooler than the common pleco. But I just love the pattern the common has, so that's why I got one. I'm going to get another one, but uh, I'm planning on upgrading to a tank big enough to where they'll be happy. Now, another big topic is catfish. These are both hybrids. That is a red tail hybrid with a shovel nose, and that's just a shovel nose mix. These will both probably get anywhere from 3 to 4 feet long. A red tail can get 3 to 4 feet long. They are just not a fish to keep if you're only doing a 125 to 300 gallon, because they won't even be happy in a 300 gallon, and they will literally eat all your other fish if they get big enough. They have, and I'm pretty sure they have eaten the eel I had in there. If you guys know about the eel, go back in some past videos. I've talked about him. He was not doing well. I did one water change one day. The eel came out and was swimming around here, and I believe one of them ate him. So they will eat nearly anything in a tank, and they just get so big. And you gotta do your research on catfish, especially because of that, because they can just become monsters and fish with you just can't deal with anymore. Now, however, a good catfish I would highly suggest you start off with is a sun catfish, right back there. They get about a foot long, and right now he's displaying his more darker colors, but it's just like in the name, they get very bright yellow, like not super bright like that, but they get pretty darn close, and it's really cool to see. However, though, they are kind of skittish, so you do need hiding places for them. But generally when they get bigger, they'll come out, or you just keep them in kind of an open tank like I have it now. I'm planning on putting more stuff in there. I took it all out because I just needed to work on the tank, and I wanted to take it out for a little while. But they can be definitely a skittish fish, kind of. They can definitely hide a lot, but if you decide to go bare bottom, they are really cool when they are swimming around out here, because they'll be very, very active, and it's really worth seeing. But at the same time, I would definitely get a hiding space for them, just because with that skittishness in them, it can kind of stress them out if they're out in the open all the time. But so yeah, with catfish, do your research, because you might think, oh, this shovel nose is so cool. Oh, I've seen this red tail. Well, those fish will probably get 3 to 4 feet or bigger even, and they are not a fish to start out with, just like the pacu. I've been keeping monster fish for about 2 years now, so I feel like I'm ready to keep the pacu. Catfish I've kept longer, but they grow slower, so that's why I have them. But with pacu, they grow very, very fast, and I'm planning on getting a bigger tank for them. And if you aren't willing, like say you go a 300 gallon tank, but you aren't willing to do anything bigger than that, just because you don't want to, you don't want to have your house crowded with tanks or just one humongous tank, then pacu and catfish that get bigger than like 2 feet are not the type of fish for you. They just won't be happy, and I would not suggest keeping them at all. Now, you can get some oddballs too, like this knife fish. Now he's pretty cool. He's pretty cute, I guess you'd say. He gets 3 feet long and massive too. Like, he'll kind of stay that. You see the slender body he has now? He'll kind of still look like that in the future, but he still gets very, very massive and wide. He can probably eat a good amount of your fish, and they get very aggressive in a small tank. I've seen a guy who had nearly full-grown ones, one full-grown one, and it took up, like, by my end of the tank, like, nearly all this, just so it can swim around, and it got that aggressive that that's what it did, and all the other fishes kept being crammed right back here. So he had to take it out, and it took them a while before they actually started swimming around the tank again. But that's what clown knives can do. They can get that aggressive and try to take control of the tank if it ain't big enough. So that's another worry with monster fish. You gotta worry about, if this one does get too big for the rest of them, will it bully all of them? And that is what happens. That's why you have to have a big enough tank so they're all happy. That's why I'm suggesting no more than a 2 foot long fish if you're going with anything like I just said, because you'll need a bigger tank for any bigger fish than that. Alright, I believe I covered all the topics I needed to in this video. Maybe I missed one or two. If I did, I might come back and do it again later. But join me next time for part 2. I will see you guys later. I'm out.